Good morning, class. So today we are going to learn about the fundamental rights. Up till now we learned about the single citizenship and universal adult franchise being a salient part of the Indian Constitution. Now the fundamental rights are basic human rights which provide the common conditions essential for the all-round development of a human being. Not just physical but physiological and emotional and mental as well. They protect people against unjust discrimination among members of the community. It's not necessary that a person has to harm you physically to bring your to harm you otherwise. But if somebody is mentally degrading you, calling you names, then also they are infringing on your fundamental rights. And in that case, let us see what all does the Constitution of India provides to the citizens of India. They don't make distinctions between human beings based on race, color, sex, religion or other such considerations. Now, it's not just the Indian society but all over the world. The strong always exploit the weak. The women have also been exploited by the males. They are the more dominant section of the society. Now when we are talking about the upper caste in India, then they have always exploited the lower caste. This is why the Constitution of India provides for certain reservation for candidates coming from the SC caste, the scheduled tribes and other backward caste and women also, so that they are at par with the rest of the nation. They give recognition to dignity and equality of all human beings. It's not just important that we go to bed with full meals in our stomach, but then our dignity is also very important. Doesn't matter which profession we practice, what kind of work we do to earn our livelihood, but we all deserve to be treated with dignity and equality where our nation is concerned or our government or our fellow brothers are concerned. Now, the first one is the right to equality, which is contained in Articles 14 to 18. The success of Indian democracy largely rests on the right to equality of citizens. The right to equality has political, social and economic components. Now, let us see what is equality before law. Article 14 guarantees both equality before law as well as equality in protection by law, irrespective of economic status, caste, color, creed, religion or sex. So, in case, doesn't matter to which caste you belong, creed, religion or which sex you are, if your fundamental rights have been infringed upon in any way, or somebody has harassed you or given you threats or harmed you physically or are harming you mentally also, torturing you, exploiting you, then you have the right to approach any court of law in the country. Now, if such kinds of practices, what I just talked about, are any kind of discrimination on these accounts, make it a punishable offense. And if the person or organization or institution which has been harassing you has been found guilty, then they are punishable under the Indian law, penal code. Now, Article 15. Let us see what Article 15 contains. It prohibits discrimination on grounds mentioned in Article 14. That is, we all get equal protection by the courts, that is by the law, doesn't matter which caste, color, creed, religion or sex we belong to. For example, admission to educational institutions, allotment of shops, etc. have to be made without discrimination, mentioned in Article 14. This ensures social and economic equality. Just to explain it simply, I'll refer to our school. You know, it is run by Christian missionaries, but girls from all faiths of life, all religion, they are treated with dignity over here and they have a right to education. Nobody is turned away from, is prohibited from taking admission in school based on their caste, color, creed or religion. Now, equality of opportunity. Again, I'll take the example of our school. Again, it is run by, I'll remind you, run by Christian missionaries. But the faculty here, the teaching faculty as well as the helpers who work here, they come from all faiths of life, come from all castes and communities. And they are treated with dignity and they get equal pay compared to what their colleagues are getting in terms of what kind of services they are providing to the institution. Now, Article 16, this is now equality of opportunity is provided in Article 16. It is mentioned, taken up in Article 16. Now, Article 16 provides for equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters relating to employment in an office under the central or state government. It prohibits any sort of discrimination on grounds mentioned in Article 14. No private or government organization can tell a person that because you are so and so, you will not be given an employment opportunity over here. It also allows making of reservations of posts in favor of scheduled castes and tribes by passing a law. Now, children, this is not true for private organizations. They go by the meritorious people that meritorious people who apply for a job in their institution. This is only there is a certain number or percentage of seats or quota which is reserved in government jobs. Now let us see what is that. Scheduled caste and tribe. At 27%, services are reserved for OBC, 15% for scheduled caste and 7.5% for scheduled tribes. Now this is being done to bring these backward classes to the average of the nation. Now see, children, before we came to chapter 2 in civics, salient features of the constitution, we had learnt in history about the early and the later Vedic age, and we also learnt about the rise and spread of Jainism and Buddhism. There we studied that Hinduism was losing its importance amongst the general masses as such. One major reason was the caste system. And especially the Shudras were treated very shabbily. In fact, they were tortured, and you know that there were certain places which were not accessible to them. They could not use any well or river that they wanted to. They had to make use of certain facilities which were only open to these people. Talking about the backward classes or the Shudras, okay. Let us talk about the abolition of untouchability, which is mentioned in Article 17. And its practice in any form. See, it doesn't matter which caste or community or religion we belong to, we cannot treat our fellow human being as an untouchable. If we are found guilty of such offense, then we are punished. We are punishable under the Indian Penal Act. Now, any person preventing the other from entering a place or of public worship or using a public well, or public transport system, etc., can be punished by law. Now, children, when we talk about this, let us I'll quickly revise take you back to when Gandhiji raised his voice against the Britishers. You all know that before coming to India, Gandhiji was in South Africa, where apartheid was rampant. Not just in South Africa, in India as well, where the Britishers barred the Indians from entering certain places. They were not allowed to use the public transport system. If they were using the buses, then they were supposed to, the blacks or the browns were supposed to sit at the back of the bus. They were not supposed to enter first class compartments in railway trains. Similarly, they were not allowed to use hotels, go to places which the Britishers frequently came to. Now, children, This apartheid, and during the Vedic period also you have seen this, that they were barred from entering certain spaces. So this has been clearly mentioned in Article 17 that such thing will not be tolerated in independent India. Now we all know, coming to abolition of titles, we all know that India from the ancient times has been divided into various big and small kingdoms. So the rulers of these kingdoms were either known as Rai Sahab or Khan Bahadur or Maharaja. So or Nawabs. So these titles have been abolished, as they are considered a negation of equal status for all. So if had we continued calling certain people as Maharaja or Khan Bahadur, then we were not treating the others equally or treating them at par with the rest of the brothers. Now, however, titles such as Bharat Ratna, etc., given for meritorious public service or other titles in fields of sports, academic honors, or military service are not covered by this provision. But if people who have worked hard and deserved certain awards, certain laurels after India gained independence, then they are given certain awards by the government, which they are entitled to use. Now, 42nd Amendment Act 1976 puts certain restrictions on the right to equality. A person cannot move the court if his right to equality is restricted to implement the directive principles of state policy. This we will take up in the next video in detail. Till now, I want you to again go through the right to equality before law, Article 14, 15, 16 and 17. Anything which is not clear, please note it down and we will take it up again when the school reopens. Thank you.